It is a coincidence that today morning our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, unveiled Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's statue in Gujarat. This particular project is being designed and constructed by Larsen & Toubro. It is a 182-meter tall statue, and we have completed that in 33 months. So it's just the kind of coincidence that we have Steel Day. I am presenting L&T headquarters. Prime Minister is unveiling the Sardar statue. As far as the materials, if we check for the statue, 75,000 cubic meters of concrete, 22,000 metric tons of bronze, 18,500 tons of reinforcement steel, and 6,000 metric tons of structural steel. This is what has been consumed in the statue. This is a true tribute to the Iron Man of India. Now, when it comes to business, does this open up a new branch of business for the structural steel manufacturing? So manufacturers need to think about it, because shortly we are going to start with Chhatrapati Shivaji statue in Mumbai. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a little change in my role now in L&T Realty. Earlier, as she rightly said, I was looking after the structural design in L&T Realty. Yesterday evening, my HR head called me and he has asked me to take a lead role now in the projects. So gradually, I'll be entering into the projects. So in fact, I take this as a welcome change, not only from viewpoint of my career, but also from viewpoint of my association with MX Media. And all of you, those who are sitting here, maybe probably I will be the decision maker in future for the procurement for my project. I mean, who knows? In July 2018, the Steel Expert Committee met in Mumbai, and we were finalizing the theme for Steel Day 2018. The theme that we finalized was challenges and solutions in structural steel design and construction. Therefore, today I am going to present challenges that we faced while designing and starting construction of L&T headquarters in Powai, and the solutions which we worked out during the design and execution. L&T Business Towers are the under construction buildings, and upon completion, these buildings will serve as L&T head office in Powai. Before I proceed with a detailed presentation, I would like to introduce you a little bit about L&T Realty. L&T Realty is committed to creating landmarks of excellence. L&T Realty aims to enrich people's lives through sustainable developments. Its vision is to become the most respected real estate developer of the country by building on its execution leadership and by honoring the dual commitments of quality and delivery timelines. L&T Realty's current portfolio consists of 59 million square feet of residential, commercial, retail, and transport-oriented development. Approximately 25 million square feet is a commercial, retail, and transit-oriented development, which has a direct link with the use of structural steel. To make any project successful, according to L&T philosophy, there are three most important attributes, that is speed, quality, and cost. When we talk about speed and quality, I believe that there is no match to structural steel as a primary construction material. And as far as cost is concerned, economies of scale, that is enhanced usage of structural steel in any given project, will certainly help in matching the cost to the conventional RCC construction. The structural steel also becomes very much important, keeping in view the recent changes in public policies. For example, the introduction of Maharashtra RERA, that is Real Estate Regulation Act. It enforces that the developer not only deliver on time, but also quality and cost aspects of the product are taken care of with 100% transparency. I believe that there is a lot of space for structural steel in this particular aspect. So in a nutshell, speed, quality, and cost are three attributes which are going to govern the future of building construction industry in India. And it is safe to assume or safe to trust that the maximization of structural steel consumption will take us closer to the achievement of our business objectives. Now let's start talking about the case study of L&T headquarters. L&T Business Towers are located at the junction of Saki Vihar Road and Jogeshwari Vikhroli Link Road, which is called as JVLR. Now this location inside L&T is more popularly known as gate number 3 of Larsen & Toubro. So this is the project site at gate number 3. L&T Business Towers are being constructed for the captive consumption of Larsen & Toubro. These two towers are exclusively designed by Larsen & Toubro and are being constructed by Larsen & Toubro Construction, which is the biggest construction company of this country. These buildings are designed and constructed as per green gold rating norms. These buildings consist of one basement in RCC, two podiums, one stilt, and 19 typical floors in structural steel. The approximate floor plate area per building is 35,000 square feet. And floor area after the removal of the core from the center works out to be approximately 26,000 square feet. Column free space is 13 meters. Floor to floor height is 4.2 meters. And floor to fall ceiling height is of the order of 3.2 meters. These buildings basically tempt me to compare it with Howrah Bridge in terms of steel consumption. Howrah Bridge steel consumption is of the order of 26,000 metric tons, whereas L&T Business Towers are going to consume not 10,000 but 13,000 metric tons, which is approximately 50% of what has been consumed in Howrah Bridge. As usual, when we started designing this at concept level, we started designing these towers as RCC buildings. Simultaneously, the soil investigation was taken up by Fugro India Limited. We investigated approximately 24 number of boreholes along with geophysical studies of the plot. As we entered design development, we started understanding the following constraints or following challenges. Number one, that the project duration or the duration of the project which was derived from the business plan of Larsen & Toubro, we were allowed to use only 24 months or 2 years to complete this project. Number two, the Fugro investigation revealed that the basalt of very high compressive strength, not less than 4,000 tons per meter square, was encountered at very early depth of 2 meters from the existing ground level. In RCC structure, it was also realized that reinforcement cutting, bending, placing in vertical elements is going to consume considerable amount of time. Number four, L&T's power development is in close vicinity of Mumbai Airport runway, and therefore the building height is restricted. In this scenario, if we had gone ahead with RCC, we might have lost one floor over there. So steel allowed us to go ahead with one additional floor. RCC building, we were not able to consume the available FSI. Looking at the plot geometry, it was understood that the space required for site activities was also pretty limited. Now let us look at all these challenges and associated solutions in detail. If we refer to the bore logs on the left hand side of this slide, it is very much evident that the hard rock is available at very early depth, and after working out the volume of excavation, we realized that we have to excavate approximately 1.5 lakh cubic meter of basalt. We started with 20 excavators working on project site day and night. And after realizing that our purpose is not being served with these 20 excavators, we also started with the controlled blasting. In addition to these trouble, we were also asked to do the shore protection by high-rise committee, which we did, and we did in L&T style. We did 1,500 micropiles in 90 days. So this is how we took care of the challenges when it comes to shore piling. We started excavation activity in January 2018, and the buildings are to be inaugurated latest by December 2019. Keeping in view the nature of rock, the monsoon and statutory constraints, we realized that no matter which technology we use, the excavation is going to consume 7 months. The challenge was understood immediately after geotechnical investigation was completed in September 2017. And we started discussing a change from RCC to steel structure. However, it was little too early to conclude and move towards the steel structure. It was towards early October 2017 when we concluded that we are not going to get any additional time to complete the project, and no matter what, the buildings must be up and running by December 2019. We seriously started thinking about the steel building option to overcome the time delay in excavation. L&T design team started working with steel framing along with metal deck slab, which resulted in considerable time saving amounting to approximately 3.6 months. This resulted in slab cycle time of 6 days, which was earlier 15 to 20 days. We also opted for triple height concrete infill tubes. These are the CFT tubes, which further helped us to reduce the time spent on conventional RCC columns and walls. The prefabricated steel framing also reduced the site activities to greater extent. Most importantly, when we were carrying out the excavation and the foundation work, simultaneously the CFT columns or concrete infill columns and the structural beams were getting fabricated in shop. Now, if we look at the pictures on the left-hand side top, we are able to see that the simple beam and column connections are being made. These are actual photographs from site. Then picture number 2 in the middle, it clearly shows that 3 levels are opened up for the slab construction, where the CFT is erected for 3 levels. And the last one shows the CFT column, which doesn't have any kind of reinforcement, and it is completely made of structural steel with steel ribs on the boundary. As mentioned earlier, RC design was leading us to time-consuming reinforcement, cutting, bending, placing columns and RC beams. When we talk about RC beams, we introduced RC beams in the system, keeping in view the NB's requirements of NBC 2016, which stipulates you to take care of the drift at the terrace level. So it virtually now it is impossible to start thinking about the flat slabs anymore. You need to have the beams in order to take care of the diaphragm action. The large depths of RC beams for 13-meter span were further adding to our difficulties in achieving floor to fall ceiling height. In order to resolve these issues, we opted for a concrete field tube columns with internal steel ribs, which completely eliminated a need of reinforcement in column. These columns were designed in such a way that these columns can be erected at a height of 3 floors. The core wall of the building was checked for slenderness, and we allowed the core jump form for 3 floors as well. This enabled our construction team to proceed with 3 slab lead to expedite the construction activities. As compared to large depth RC beams, excuse me, I think I need to go back. sorry about it. As compared to large depth RC beams, we shifted to relatively low depth steel beams. With the issuance of NBC 2016, it has become difficult, as I said, to design the flat slab in RCC buildings. The steel deck slab not only provided us with a solution in this regard, but also we could eliminate the use of horizontal formwork in these buildings. Similarly, the use of CFT columns eliminated the use of formwork for columns. The jump form offered us a solution in such a way that most of the times the formwork remained in vertical position and we did not use any horizontal space for storing the formwork material. The simple beam to column connections also enabled us to expedite construction activities. Now, I have already explained you these three pictures. Now, let's go towards further challenges. 13-meter span again was suggesting large depth of RC beams, which also created a problem for routing of services in these buildings. The introduction of steel beams not only reduced the beam depth, but also provided us with an opportunity to introduce castellations in steel beams, which offered a lot of flexibility for services routing. If we look at the site plan now, we'll look at the logistic issues which we faced on the site. If we look at the site plan in this slide, it is evident that the plot has a long tail, and most of the plot where the buildings are located provides hardly any space for material storage, enabling works and other site related activities. The steel structure was fabricated in shop and transported to site using just-in-time principle, which eliminated a space requirement for storing steel members. Use of steel structure reduced the requirement of reinforcement, which resulted in less space requirement for storing the reinforcement. Steel structure which resulted in minimization of formwork also resulted in less space requirement for storing formwork material. The time consumed in activities like cutting, bending, placing, reinforcement, concrete curing, fixing and removing formwork was brought down to such an extent that this not only provided a saving in time, but also allowed us to plan site logistic in a disciplined and organized manner. It's good to have my project head over here, Ankur Jadhav is over here, and how we manage this, I need to go back a little bit. The entire credit goes to Ankur, in fact. Now, what we did, I'll just go back a little bit over here. Now, when we look at this particular slide, and when we asked Ankur to look after this project, now Ankur was of the opinion that around 70 to 74% of the cost we are going to consume in RCC and the MEP works. So we said, now what do we do about it? Now he said that this is a great opportunity that right from the beginning, let the architectural consultant, let the structural consultant, and let the MEP consultant work in close coordination with me. So we said that how it helps you. Now, when we realized that 74% he wanted to control, that means that such type of buildings are to be designed by structural engineers, and rest of the attributes or the variables which when we say speed, quality and time, if you control this 70 to 74% in your favor in order to expedite the cost, the time value of money takes care of other things, that is the additional cost of steel and other things, if provided that you have economies of scale. And with this, Ankur has been able to achieve this as a great success, that now he deals with the architectural consultant for the remaining 26 to 30% of the cost. Now he knows that once the speed has been achieved, now quality has been achieved by steel, now he is able to control the cost by time value of money principle along with the structural and architectural consultant in order to further reduce the time. And the biggest, latest example of this is all these columns now we are painting with intumescent paint, and we are not going to clad it anymore. So he has achieved that reduction in timelines also in the finishing. Now let's move forward. So how did we achieve this time saving? We achieved this time saving using the steel fabrication in the shop when the excavation and foundation work was in progress. CFT columns with no reinforcement and 3-floor erection allowed us great time saving. Simple connections of beam columns allowed us to move faster. Prefabricated steel beam with coordinated services cutouts allowed us to give a lot of flexibility to services routing. Into mason paint, as I said, we are using it for the columns, so no cladding is required from architectural point of view. Then less activity like reinforcement, cutting, bending, placing, formwork, mobilization, etc. at site allowed us to take full control of the time spent on the site. And the most important point which Ankur has achieved is, due to the mechanized construction, the requirement of the skilled labor has come down more than 50%. So whatever we have spent on the as additional cost on structural steel or mechanized construction, everybody knows that it is so difficult to find the skilled labor right now in Mumbai market. So it is a great success, and the skilled labor cost has come down more than 50%. Now when we look at L&T Realty projects, we did structural steel L&T Business Park way back in 2007. We were the pioneers in composite structures in buildings. As of now, currently we are going ahead with L&T Business Towers in Powai. And what lies in future, as I said towards the start of the presentation, 25 million square feet is still to be constructed in the form of commercial, retail, and transit-oriented development in Powai, in Bengaluru, in Hyderabad, and in New Mumbai. This brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.